there. Hey there. Ho there. We're as happy as can be. Bob, Eddie, Julio. Another week, another session of Three Ball Walk. A lot of baseball going on. College baseball heating up. College World Series starts in a couple days. Major leagues, it's mid-June.
And
the
the
Braves are still in first place. Your thoughts?
The
Nationals got Daniel Murphy back.
Yeah, that, and if you're a Braves fan, you gotta hate that. I mean, not that you hate it for him, but you just doesn't bode
You're
well.
waiting for the
you're waiting for the hammer to fall, and the glass slipper to slide off a foot, like Cinderella's ride is over. But hey, look, if they can hang on and get in the wild card, that would even be a bonus
and Atlanta's got a game on Washington right now, and Washington's got a game and a half on St. Louis.
Yep.
So in reality, the Braves actually have a 2.5 game lead for the playoffs.
Plenty of time to screw it up. Let's just be honest.
How you guys fought? How are they doing it?
They've had some young people who have really helped them. Ozzie Albies, Acuna Jr. I think he's coming back, and Freddie Freeman is tearing it up. And their pitching is pretty good. I mean, I have not gotten. As I say every week, I don't get to watch the Braves like I would like to because I cannot afford the MLB package. But when I've seen them on ESPN or I've seen them on Fox or whatever it's been, they're a fun young team to watch. My question is, will the Braves go out and try to get a bullpen arm if they're still involved? And which is something we haven't talked about in several years. The Braves making a viable trade.
No.
If they're in it,
no. I don't think they will.
Because they don't want to get rid of their young talent.
They don't want to get rid of their young talent, and two, I think they're building for the future, and they're a year ahead. So whatever they get is a bonus. I think for them, they would have to have a lockdown. This is a stupid thing if you don't do it kind of trade given to them.
There was a young team in the other
and the
league.
Marlins, they did that too.
There was a young team in the other league a couple years ago. That was in the same boat, and they went out and got Justin Verlander, and won the World Series.
World Series, yeah,
that's true.
And they were, that up and coming team for the future.
And he's the ERA leader in the American League right now.
But is there a guy like a Justin Verlander who's going to be in the trade discussions come the trade deadline? That year everybody knew Verlander was going somewhere,
right?
It was just a matter of who was going to pick him up. That's what I'm asking. Is there anybody like that who you say, okay, this guy...
We're still in June. That discussion comes out about
we'll see.
beginning of July. You start noticing.
I think they might be, but I don't think they would make a blockbuster trade where they would give away the core of what they think is their future at this point.
And it's funny, the guy they gave up, the guy they got rid of, Matt Kemp, is doing really great for the Dodgers too. I mean,
and change in venue sometimes helps everybody.
Yep.
And Kemp obviously likes the West Coast, so
he's doing well.
So the Braves, the Nationals, the Phillies are over 500.
Yeah.
And the Mets, who started off the season,
the fire sale will
I think they won all their games in April, and they haven't won since.
But you know what? April games count just as much as May games and June games.
So
they still got a shot.
They still got a shot.
Yeah.
And then and I told you in the other league they don't play real baseball and everything like that.
You always say that.
But the team I've kind of been looking, won another game last night with a walk-off. The Seattle Mariners.
Yes.
Slowly.
Without Cano.
They're winning you over, right?
They're winning me over.
To that fake baseball. You just like it because of Zunino.
Zunino, right.
Come on, you're a Gator homer, and wherever Gator players are, then you like them, which means you should be a Braves fan with Tucker up there.
Yeah.
And then,
Tucker's not, number 3 pick overall, highest Gator ever drafted, higher than Wilkerson.
Zunino,
highest Gator, and now the second highest, number 5 overall.
India.
Is India.
Are we going to talk about that now?
We'll talk about that in the second half. No, we'll talk about that in the second half.
Okay.
But yeah, I like Zunino, and I like and I like the way the Mariners have recognized, and the Mariner fans just following them on Twitter and everything. Zunino is their best player. With all the people they have and everything like that, he is the one that they write the most about, that they're following the most, the one who they're most dependent on. And the team, to be honest, didn't really start going until he came off the DL to start the season.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, that is a good point. He certainly has learned to be a good professional, I think. And, again, it's when you're in college and he was there and he started catching, and you're like, okay, that's the catcher.
Right.
And there was no doubt who the
Catcher.
captain on the field was, because when somebody started, Zanino would get right up in there and go, okay, this is enough of this, let's settle down, do whatever. And you need that. You need that on your team. You need somebody on your team who will be the guy who either kicks them in the fanny or pats them on the rump, whichever one they need the most.
So if you watch
not the manager.
offensively pitching, just all around good team, get a chance to watch the Mariners, and
You
right
can't watch
there,
them unless you stay up like you're a night owl
Yeah.
at 4 a.m.
half a game behind them
Some, yeah.
is your world champion Houston Astros.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because the 4 best teams in baseball record-wise right now
Or in the AOS.
are in the AL East and the AL West. And they're the only 4 teams 20 games or more over 500. And and it's amazing in the National League, and I think you've got it here, the wild card. You've got the Cubs there, Washington, Cardinals a game back, Philadelphia, LA, Colorado, all right there. While right now, and it's almost, remember last year this time, we had a little thing where the Dodgers, the Padres, the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, and are both wild cards coming out
The West.
Of the
of
West.
the West, and they wound up happening.
Yep.
And my question this year is: there no wild card race? Is there going to be no wild card race in the American League? Is it going to be the Red Sox and Yankees and Mariners and Houston, and 2 of them are going to win the divisions, and the other 2 in the wild cards? Because right now they're
Yes.
Yeah.
7 games up
Yes.
on the
Over
Angels.
Angels.
Yes, I think that is true, and I think that the only team that's going to come out of the Central is whoever wins the division, and they probably shouldn't even get in the playoffs.
Okay. Which leads me to every now and then you wind up having something like this where they're fighting for the third best non-champion team.
Wild card.
Okay.
Sure.
The third wild card. And adding the wild card, such a great thing. It's adding all these races and everything like that. Wouldn't the American League right now be a lot more exciting than coming down the end if there was no wild card? Because what's in it for the Yankees and the Red Sox?
Home field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're playing for.
You're playing for home field advantage.
Because the
throughout
visiting
playoffs.
team has never won in the playoffs.
Well, they do, but you still would you rather play at home?
No,
or would
you
rather
are.
play
You are.
on the road?
But there's a big difference when you're playing for your playoff lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, hey, you win, you're in. You don't win the division. And now with 3,
But this is an unusual year where if that were to come about.
if you go back and look, and I actually did. Sometimes the battles between first and second. Sometimes the close races between second and third. Sometimes it's between third and fourth.
Well, you'll
So
have your
really-
race in the Central Division because one of those teams ain't going to win it, and the other one's going to win. So,
See. And not in the other ones. On the other ones, one of the teams is going to win.
yeah, and the other team's going to be the wild card.
And the other,
You know,
right.
So and then it's the case of do you want to host or do you not want to host? I think those guys want to host. I mean, you'd want your fans to be there, and then you'd want to have the better record so that you didn't have to play as the wild card on the road.
And then you wind up having the race between the NL West winner and the AL East winner to see who gets the best one, so then they can host the ALCS.
Yeah, and also then you
Yeah.
get to play the wild card. You know,
Yep.
if you're the better record, you get to play the wild card. If you're the second best
Which-
record, you have to play the third. You have to play the division.
Which is good. So you want to finish second. You don't want to
Yeah.
win first.
Well, I guess.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd rather play the Indians than play whoever winds up winning that wild card
Amen.
game.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
a good
do you
point.
want?
That's a good point. You might
Oh,
wanna-
we get to play the wild card. No, you don't want to play the wild
maybe
card.
we throw it down the stretch.
So we finish second.
finish second. We finished first in our division, but second overall.
And think about it. But then you don't get home field in the ALCS. But
Right. But your likelihood
you
of
got a
getting
better
to the
chance of
ALCS is
getting
getting
there.
there.
And you look at Detroit, 4.5 back right now, and Miguel Cabrera gone for the year.
Miguel Cabrera brings up an interesting note because a lot of hits, great ball player, and everything
Hall
like
of
that.
Famer. Triple
And
crown winner.
3 guys that I've kind of looked at, and it's interesting. You wrote them down and everything. Miguel Cabrera, Venezuelan. You got Adrian Gonzalez, Mexican, and you got Adrian Beltre, Dominican. And Adrian Beltre just passed Ichiro for the most hits in Major League history by someone not born in the United States.
Wow.
And it's interesting because the guy coming up was Miguel Cabrera. You know, although Adrian Beltre never slowed down.
No, he hasn't.
You know, he
He's
hasn't.
amazing. He's a Hall of Famer
And
for
now, and the other guy, Adrian Gonzalez,
sure. Released.
great career.
Yeah, great. 5-time All-Star. He's great.
You know,
And who will
Just-
pick him up? You know,
Maybe nobody.
I'm
I
not
think
ready.
nobody.
I think he's done.
I think the only shot he would have would be an American League squad that
Right.
needs a DH, and I don't know any that need a DH that's going to take one that's at the back end of their career for just a short-term rental.
When
Unless
he
somebody
was,
in the
Like Detroit.
races,
Right.
like
That's what I'm
say
saying.
Boston were to lose a couple of bats and they needed somebody, they might bring him back.
and then, yeah.
If the Yankees were to lose 3 of those bats to injuries, then they might bring him in for just to get them over the hump till they get their bat back.
Right.
But otherwise, you just bring somebody
And it's
up.
interesting. It comes. I think he became better known and a star when he went to the Dodgers.
Yeah,
of course.
He was
Yeah.
a better player with the Padres.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
The
He
San
was
Diego
great.
Padre, Adrian Gonzalez,
He was a great player.
first round draft pick, number 1 overall.
Wow.
No, excuse me, not number 1 overall, but first round draft pick of
I don't know.
Miami or Florida
your
Marlins.
Florida Marlins,
Miami Marlins.
I got one.
and gave him away for nothing.
Yeah.
That's typical for the Marlins. They usually give everything away for nothing, and then they buy it all back for one big run, and then they sell it all off after that.
And that's why they have more World Series championships than the
I
city
know.
of Atlanta.
I know. Hey, yes, it worked. It's a
worked.
formula that
It
worked.
worked. Yeah.
And so they've done it twice, and it's worked. All right, so one thing about Mr. Ohtani,
Yes.
right?
Talking about people not born in the United States,
Right, and
that
people
get
that are
paid
on the
a
DL.
lot of money.
And on the who is the exec that signed off on that deal without consulting a doctor if they knew he had a PRP on that elbow in the fall?
You don't get platelet injections
On
unless
a-
there's been a
There is a significant injury if you're getting a PRP. I mean, well, not
or is
significant.
it, you know?
But now it's become, that process has become almost as common as getting a flu shot for athletes.
Really.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. It happens here at UF with a lot of their athletes. They started that way before it was kind of a common thing, looking at doing the PRP injections and putting them in sites and, you know.
And what basically, since you're bringing up the equivalent, because I always thought PRP was, you know,
Personal fielding.
yeah, or
Yeah.
something.
Bunny.
You know? What
You-
what is a PRP?
In essence,
Dr.
they take.
Dr.
Well, I don't
Gilly?
know the whole science behind it, but his is, I am a doctor, but not that.
You
guy.
are not that kind.
And so, as I understand it, what they do is they take your platelets, they grow them and multiply them, and then give it back to you so that your platelets rush to an area that's injured to help it heal faster. And
Is that allowed in the Tour de France? Isn't that what they were doing? Is that like blood doping or?
That's not like blood doping. That's different. That's increasing the red blood cell count so that you can retain
More
more
oxygen.
oxygen. But in essence, it's re-injecting it back into your own body so that it goes right into the source and helps heal the inflammation and get rid of it. But if that's the case, and then you sign this dude for lots of money, and now he's out with Tommy John, that he was probably limping along trying to get the contract.
Now you start thinking they skipped his first start. Remember they pushed his start
Yep.
back
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year.
He's missed a couple of starts. They said that with the Yankees was a big deal.
So has he been complaining about arm pain the whole time?
I think he was limping along, and I think they were trying to get him
Yes.
here and get it fixed and get it looked at, and then suddenly it's just too much to fight through the pain anymore. But as the
Makes
exec,
you-
that's the problem. Whoever the doctor was that examined him as a team doctor,
Fired.
you got a lot of money on that. Now you're sitting on for 2 years.
Makes you respect Babe Ruth just a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's not easy to play both sides of the ball and be a star.
That's true.
It was impossible for me to play one side of the ball, so that's why baseball's my favorite sport. I mean, it's
But these people, and there's been a lot out there that have done it and came up. John Olerud jumps to mind where they drafted him, didn't know how they were going to use him.
Right.
And there's people. What's his face? The
pitcher
guy
from
from West
St. Louis.
Palm.
What's the pitcher from
With
St.
an
Louis?
A, started with an A.
Ankiel.
Ankiel.
Rick Ankiel, yeah.
But he actually left and then came back and redefined. But to do them both at the same time, it just doesn't happen. And here, finally, someone was doing it. Hey, you're pitching every 4 days, and the other 3 days, you're in the lineup.
Yeah, not there. All right, well, we got to go. So we'll be back in the second half in just a moment. Hang tight.